for joining us for virtual day trip to wine country today, presented by Citi. I'm Sam Kimball from New York Wine Events. Happy Wine Wednesday. We're excited to be here. We are headed back to California, as you can see in my background. Today, we're going back to the Sonoma County area, specifically to the town of Geyserville in Sonoma County. And we're headed to a beautiful spot. But first, I wanted to tell everybody a little bit about where we're going and show you a map here. You can see my background. There's Sonoma County, and there is a little map pin on the town of Geyserville. So we're in the northern part of Sonoma County in Geyserville. And Geyserville is, at the last census, was population 862 residents. I think it's gone up a little bit since then, but not a lot. It's located in the middle of wine country, an awesome place. It's got a small selection of restaurants, bed and breakfasts, and definitely wineries. But the thing I wanted to mention, which is cool, is that Geyserville owes its foundation to the discovery in 1847, so 170 years ago, of a series of hot springs and steam vents in a gorge in the mountains in Sonoma County between the towns of Calistoga and Cloverdale. And that group or complex of hot springs and steam vents became known as the geysers, because they were literally like water geysers, like spouts. And it soon became a tourist attraction. And the area and the town grew up to provide accommodations and serve as a gateway to the geysers, hence the name Geyserville. I didn't know that when I was getting ready for this evening's broadcast. I did that discovery and research and was fascinated to learn about the geysers there. So we're headed to the deLorimier Winery, which is right there in Geyserville. Absolutely gorgeous location. deLorimier was established in 1986 by Alfred deLorimier, also known as Dr. Al. And we're going to hear a lot more about him in a moment, but he was a world-class pediatric surgeon at the University of California, San Francisco Hospital, right there in San Francisco. And he traveled the world teaching pediatrics, but he fell in love with wines from the Bordeaux region. And he started buying land in the Alexander Valley, which is in Sonoma County in California, in the 70s. And the rest is history, but I'm getting way ahead of myself, and our guest is going to fill us in on a lot more of this. To learn all about the history and the background of the deLorimier Winery, you can visit deLorimierwinery.com, and I'm going to put that URL up on my screen here. I'll move out of the way. By the way, tonight we have a magic URL. Just go to that deLorimierwinery.com/New York, and you will get a special deal on the wines that we're going to be talking about and tasting tonight. There's a 6 bottles deal, and these are really high-end, amazing wines. 6 bottles for $229 plus free shipping. And if you've ever watched us before, you know that we love free shipping. Free shipping when you're buying wine online is incredible. So take advantage of that. And there's also a couple of other options there to get some of the sparkling wine as well. So welcome everybody. Please feel free to hit us up in the chat with questions, or better yet, the Q&A panel in Zoom here. We love your questions. We want to get as much engagement as possible. Take advantage of this opportunity. We are talking with the portfolio director at the winery. So any and all questions you have, let's put them through his paces. And also, hit up the chat module. If you would, right now, hit the chat and let us know where you're logging in from. We do have people join us from all over creation, so let us know where you're coming in from, and we love to see that. We've worked with deLorimier's parent company, Wilson Artisan Wines, in the last section of our virtual tastings in the spring. So it's my pleasure, absolute pleasure tonight to host Jim Ferguson, the portfolio director at deLorimier. Welcome, Jim. It's great having you on the show.
Hey Sam, nice to be here. Man, you did your homework on Geyserville.
We try, and you know, we could see you're out there in the vineyard, which is pretty cool. And we've got
the geysers right back of me.
And you got geysers behind you, and blue sky.
Geysers Peak is, you can't see it, but it's right over there. The old good old Geyser Peak.
And California sunshine behind you as well.
Oh man, lots of it's beautiful today. It's in the low 80s, gorgeous.
So a lot of history there. You've been at deLorimier, you know, since the Wilson Artisan Wines actually acquired the winery 12 years ago.
Right.
You know, I'd love to hear you talk a little bit about, I'm curious about Doc Al. He sounds like quite a guy.
He was an amazing dude. He was a very special man. You know, we being the Wilson family, bought this winery in 2008 from Dr. Al when he was still alive. He passed in 2012, but he traveled the world, as you were talking about, teaching pediatrics, and as you said, with the wines from the Bordeaux region, and hence came back and started buying land here in the 70s up in the beautiful Alexander Valley, and created this wonderful spot that is known as deLorimier. And that's kind of our forte with the type of wines that we do here, and with the Wilson family. That was something special that we were looking for, because the two houses that we had prior to deLorimier, of course, was Wilson and Mosaic, and they were very Zinfandel oriented. So we were looking for Bordeaux style house. Doc was an amazing guy, you know. People come in to the tasting room that are members of the deLorimier family club, and they would say, you know, if it wasn't for Dr. Al, my son, my daughter wouldn't be on this earth.
That's incredible.
So very special man. Very special man.
Was he of French extraction? Is that why he was so interested in French wine?
Well, no, you know, he was French, but he was born and raised up in Quebec, Canada.
Really?
Wow. And then came to the States. But he was here most of his life in the States, you know. And, you know, being UCSF, being a world-class teaching hospital, he trained so many people, nurses and other doctors, you know, under him there through the years. People have such great respect for Doc even to this day, and they still come. And you know what? They're still part of the family, of the winery, of the wine club. I don't like to say wine club members. I call them family members, Sammy.
No, I love that. And the fact of the matter is, it's amazing that he was able to continue being this incredibly accomplished surgeon and start what became an iconic winery and brand in the wine country in Sonoma County.
No, absolutely.
Was he actively involved in winemaking itself? Did he have a team or what?
At the very end, he was. I mean, he'd get right out, work in the vineyards, you know, with the farm workers. He loved his vineyards, you know, like his patients, you know. He thought, you know, these grapes were his kids, you know, even though he had a couple of siblings, but he treated them just like they, you know, hands-on, for sure. For sure. He was an incredible guy. But, he had some pretty good winemakers in his day that worked with him here at that time also.
And
he didn't make wine per se.
And how did Wilson Artisan Wines, which is the parent company of deLorimier, how did they get involved?
Right, Wilson Artisan Wines, yeah.
How did Wilson get involved, Jim?
Well, it was on the market, you know. Well, we purchased it from Dr. L or Dr. deLorimier in 2008. So he was getting ready to retire full time, and his health was getting a little bad, and so Ken put an offer in that he couldn't refuse.
That's awesome. And did he stick around, guys, as an ambassador for the winery after the acquisition?
He was, but you know, again, he was only alive for about another 4 or 5 years. But yes, he would pop in from time to time and, you know, say hello. And, you know, he was just a gracious man, big man. He was like 6'3", 6'4". You know, he was a gracious individual. Amazing man. I miss him.
That's awesome.
You know, when we won this year, the best sweepstakes, the best red wine at the San Francisco Chronicle wine competition this year, which it was a deLorimier Cabernet Sauvignon called Crazy Creek, which was Doc's home ranch up on the hill over here. I was here the day that it was announced, and I swear I could feel his presence here. You know, he would have been so proud to have his wine win the best wine of the United States, right? Out of 7,000 wines.
7,000 wines, and it won best red wine.
That's correct.
And
correct.
which selection is that, Jim?
No, we're not having it tonight because we're so low on it, but we still do have some if people are interested. It's the 2016 single vineyard called Crazy Creek Cabernet Sauvignon. It's 100% Cabernet Sauvignon.
And how many cases of
we
that?
Still have a little bit. Diane made 5 barrels of that wine. No, excuse me. She made 8 barrels of that wine this year, or with the 16. Right?
Wow.
So I'm going to test you, Sam. 8 barrels. How many cases is that?
Oh, I knew you were going to do that. It's about 200 cases.
Go ahead.
Was that right?
You're absolutely right. You're right on the mark, Sam. I'm telling you, you're sharp as a tack.
Yes, it's
yes, 200 cases.
Every barrel is 25 cases, right?
Yes, we round up. It's 24 point something, 6, 8, but we always round up to 25. Keep it simple.
I think we're done, Jim. Listen, it's been great having you on the show.
Hey, great.
I passed the test.
You're gonna run through the wine for everybody?
Well, we got it. When I come out, and people who are watching don't know this, but I'm planning to come out and go fishing with Jim up in the Sierra Nevadas in the lakes. When I come out, Jim, you got to put aside one bottle. We could do that as well, but when I come out, I want you to put aside a bottle of the Crazy Creek's Cabernet Sauvignon for me.
Consider it done.
All right, so
you're going to be staying, Sammy. We have a beautiful guest house right in back of me here, and 2 beautiful suites. So anybody who wants to come out, once you become a club member here, you get special pricing on our suites. It's a 3-bedroom house. The suites are large and in charge. They're big. They're beautiful, and you're right in the middle of the Primitivo vineyard. I mean, you walk out the back door and you walk right into the estate Primitivo vineyard.
Well, I wish you wouldn't talk about
when you come out.
I wish you wouldn't talk about the guest house while we're got all these people watching, because they're all going to want to like take the reservation before I
come out, right? Yeah. Well, I'll be sure to save a room for you, Sam.
All right.
Maybe we'll pitch a tent on the back lawn here where we're at.
Awesome.
That wouldn't be bad.
All right. Well, a couple more questions, and then let's get into tasting these incredible wines.
Ready?
Are there particular, now you're in the Alexander Valley where there's a lot of Zinfandel production and a lot of red wine production. Red wine is kind of the state, official
Chardonnay
wine.
Does well here too.
What grape varietals, because you don't just do what every other California winery does. You've got a real portfolio of different varietals and wine selections that you feature. Talk a little bit about that diversity.
Yeah, well, just here at deLorimier alone, I think really the Alexander Valley, what it's known for is Bordeaux varietals, right? The 5, which is Cabernet Sauvignon and Malbec and Cab Franc, Petit Verdot, and Merlot. And then whites is Sauvignon Blanc and Semillon. But, you know, it grows Chardonnay out here too. If you go back, people think about the old Robert Young and, you know, very famous for the Alexander Valley, what they created their own Chardonnay clone. Yeah. And so Chardonnay, I think, does very well here also.
I can attest to that because I'm having some of deLorimier Chardonnay right now.
You're cheating. You started before me, Sam.
I just wanted to see if you sent me the good stuff, and you did. So.
Yeah, of course, only the good stuff for you, Sam.
But you know, unlike some of the other Alexander Valley producers, where there's a lot of great Zinfandel, and nobody loves Zinfandel like I do, but the fact of the matter is, you guys have this real balanced diversity of different selections that you produce.
We do. We do a grape called Primitivo that we're going to taste through today, which is phenomenal. It's in the Zinfandel family. We'll talk a little bit more about that once we get to this wine here. Phenomenal wine, but you know, really we focus on really Bordeaux varietals here, or blends too, which we're going to do the Artisan today. Which just took a beautiful gold medal at the North Coast Wine Competition, and that's it's a blend of four different grapes that Diane does with that one. You know, the only thing she doesn't blend in there is Merlot, but all the other four Bordeaux varietals.
That's amazing. So you've kind of kept the flame going that Doc Al started with, really kind of having a passion for French varietals in addition to others.
Correct. Oh yeah, we would never veer too far from that. It was, you know, that's what we're known for. That was what deLorimier was known for, is the Bordeaux varietals. But you know, we have slipped in a couple of Zinfandels, and certainly, actually, she's doing 8 different Primitivos now here, which is phenomenal, from different growers, from our vineyards. So the one we're going to be having today is actually from an estate vineyard called Wedding Cake, which is delicious.
I love that. My wife just walked in the room, and so she's aware of that we're trying to get that reservation in the guest house before everyone else watching does. So
better get it, sign up.
Let's give everybody a quick tour. What do I have in my background right now, Jim?
That is the patio, the front patio. If you move a little bit to your right or left, Sam, they can see the big fountain there that Doc brought in. It's a rock with that he drilled a hole down. It's fairly cool, actually. And then you look through the gazebo, and you're looking south into the Alexander Valley there, and you're looking into a vineyard of 27-year-old Sauvignon Blanc vines there. And
That's
then,
cool.
Did you had a couple other pictures too, didn't you?
Yeah, and I pulled this. This is, I think, in one of your blocks there. I don't know which one, but I found this photo today that I thought was interesting. Like right in the vines.
You're testing me there, Sam.
Yeah, I knew this would not be automatic.
I think that actually is that vineyard looking through the gazebo on your first shot. That's the Sauvignon Blanc running south, north and south.
That's probably right. I should have sourced the picture to be fair.
That's all right. You're testing me, I know.
And then you talk about where you're aging these red wines. You got a massive barrel room there.
Oh yeah. We basically use predominantly French oak, a lot of different cooperages. Typically, we buy about a third new every year. Our reserve wines may see 50% new oak, but we don't 100% new oak anything. You know, we just like to leave the aspect of the terroir, what the vineyard gives you. We don't want to mask it up with a lot of oak, but we like using a portion of new oak for sure. And it's all basically medium toast, but from different forests in France, major forest, and a lot of different coopers too, Cibourg, Poirier.
I assume it's not, there's a aesthetic reason, but because there's nothing wrong with American oak, but why not American oak?
Oh, well, we have a little bit, but the style that American oak, and we do use a little American oak and Hungarian oak on our Zinfandels because we like that kind of coconutty, kind of vanilla extract that American oak tends to throw into to wines. We don't really prefer on our Cabernets. We definitely love to use traditional French oak on all of our Cabernets and Chardonnay too. You know, when we put the Chardonnay that we're going to taste, definitely sees about a third new oak on the estate Chardonnay when we get to it.
All right, and then we'll take everybody inside. This is, I think, the main.
That's in the tasting room. So what were you looking right straight back? I'd be right back through those big windows in the middle there.
Is that right?
There's a little patio there, which we have lots of people on this afternoon, actually, and then I'm kind of right back out towards the vineyard there that you're looking at through the windows.
I love it. I love it. That's great.
It's a great spot. It's a pretty holy spot. I'll tell you what. You need to get out here, everybody.
Well,
come out and visit.
And it's great to hear that you're open because obviously it's been a challenge to get open and stay open. So
it has. Everything is al fresco still right now. You know, they closed everything down inside, but it's so beautiful out here. Why wouldn't you want to be outside, right?
Exactly. All right. Well, so should we pop the cork and head on over to the sparkling wine, which is the first selection here?
I'm ready. Are you?
I'm ready. I like to put up a picture of it on my screen. So for everybody watching, we've got the Kenneth.
This is what everybody could see it. That's the same wine that we're popping right now.
That's
awesome. If I had a saber, I'd saber it for you, Sam.
You know, I was watching another sommelier wine experts online streaming show last night, and he actually sabered a bottle of champagne, and he got it. He did it.
Well, what did you think? He didn't. What that he wasn't going to do it?
You listen. Sometimes it goes, and sometimes it doesn't.
That's true. That's true. You never know.
All right. So this is called the Kenneth Carl Brut. It's from the Anderson Valley. There we go.
Did you get that sound effect, Sam?
We did, and it's mostly Chardonnay, some Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
Some Pinot Noir.
30% Pinot Noir.
And the Pinot Meunier.
And then 5% of another red grape like Pinot Noir called Pinot Meunier. That's right. 48 months on the lees. Anderson Valley. So up in Mendocino County, Anderson Valley, all the fruits from Anderson Valley. Look at the bead on that. Is that beautiful?
That's gorgeous. The color is amazing.
Gorgeous, right? Nice golden color.
Golden color. Yeah. Now this is so-called method champenoise.
Méthode champenoise, which means fermented in the bottle, right? That's traditional style from France, you know.
So these are
here, right?
100% natural bubbles, yeah.
In the bottle, that's right. So it spent 48 months in the bottle, and then it was disgorged last July, and we released it last August.
Now,
so we just went through just about everything we had from that shipment, and we just got a brand new shipment in that was just disgorged again in July. So we have quite a bit of this in stock again. So we got a heck of a deal on it today. 3 bottles at $99 and 6 bottles at $189. Also complimentary shipping on both of those specials today.
Free shipping.
And it retails at the winery at $44 a bottle.
Free shipping.
So those are heck of deals on that bubbly.
I'm putting a note in
free
the
shipping.
Chat about
hey,
free
complimentary shipping. I think we could say free.
Well, I said free.
Yeah.
You said complimentary.
Oh, nice toasty kind of note. Yeah, that's right. So it's got a lot of little Granny Smith to it because that's, Anderson Valley is a very cool growing region, right, up in Mendocino.
Yep.
I think this would go, geez, lovely with like some nice pan-seared scallops, or shrimp on the Barbie even.
I love that.
But with some nice light cheeses, And of course, how about some, how about some caviar and potato chips?
Now you're speaking my language.
That's New York language, right?
You had me at,
that's how they dine in Manhattan.
you had me at caviar. That's amazing.
Caviar.
This is,
so
this one is
try it with bubbly.
This one is only 44 regular retail, but the deal today is it's 33 if you buy 3 bottles and free shipping. So for 99 bucks, you
Right.
get a
That's
party
correct.
in a box. You get your own champagne party in a box. Love it.
You know, it's very traditional. Again, Methode Champenois. It has that nice kind of toastiness to it. Clean, though. Granny Smith apple. It's beautiful wine.
That's awesome.
I was very happy with the cuvee on this for our first shot out of the cannon. This is the very first bubbly we've ever had made.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah, very first one. So
now-
Kenneth Carl, the name is Kenneth Carl. It's named after Kenneth Carl Wilson. He's the jefe right here, the head man, the big boss.
That was
The
my
guy that signs paychecks.
before we were going to move to the Chardonnay. I was like, why is it Kenneth Carl? Now I know. Kenneth Carl Wilson. Okay, got it.
That's right.
All
That's
right.
correct.
Now we know Ken's middle name.
There you do. Yes. He has, yes. We, you know, at Wilson, we run the Zinfandels. He's got a Zinfandel, Kenneth Carl Zinfandel, but he's also, you know, got a vineyard named after him, his middle name too. Carl's. If you see Carl Zinfandel at Wilson, that's for Carl.
I love it.
Actually, I take that back. I made a mistake, Sam. Imagine that. That's for his dad, because his dad's name is Carl Kenneth Wilson.
Okay, got it. All right, so I'm going to put up on the screen the next wine, Jim.
All right.
Which is the Chardonnay.
State Chardonnay.
Here it comes. Bear with me 1 second.
I got it right up front for you.
All right, Chardonnay is on my screen. I can personally attest to this one because I'm drinking it right now. It's really great. We have one question. Jeffrey has a question. Are the bubbles in the sparkling wine, the Kenneth Carl, are they smaller or bigger than a Prosecco?
Oh, smaller.
Smaller.
More than Prosecco. Yeah, Prosecco, you know, Italian sparkling wine, right? Which are delicious in their own right, but they don't have the finesse that a good California sparkling wine or French champagne have. You know, and the tinier the bubbles, as Don Ho used to say, is better. You're probably too young. Do you remember who Don Ho was?
I remember him. I remember seeing him on TV. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he had that song, Tiny Bubbles. They're better because they don't go to your head so much. They don't get into your blood system, and you feel good the next day. You feel.
Well, I think that's why
you're gonna feel horrible on Prosecco, but you know you're gonna feel better.
That's why Jeffrey asked the question. He wanted to know if they're small and if they were that high quality.
Yeah, definitely smaller than Prosecco.
That's great. Awesome.
So,
all right, so on to the Chardonnay. Now, I'm a big fan. You know, these days, you know, stainless steel fermented Chardonnay is all the rage. You're like, no oak. Yeah. And I'm a big fan. I love the oak. So I'm loving this Chardonnay that I'm tasting tonight. That's your deLorimier Chardonnay.
It has oak thing.
Because there's some oak.
Yeah, but it's balanced, right?
It's very balanced.
It's not oak, though, right? It's got beautiful fruit to it. You know, this is grown, so on the back side, the Russian River runs right in back of us here. And this vineyard butts right up down on the river. So in the morning, believe it or not, it's 4 or 5, maybe even 6 or 7 degrees cooler back there than it is out front here on the vineyard. And you're on about 37 acres here at deLorimier. But the fog comes up, right? Comes up the Russian River. So it'll hang in there till, you know, some mornings, 10 o'clock, 10:30, you know. That's kind of late, but it keeps it cooler back there. And what you want for Chardonnay. And then warm days, right? This clone is a clone called C clone, S-E-E. Mm-hmm. And it's a family from San Francisco, the C. Canley family. But it throws you real tropical, kind of guava, pineapple, you know, banana, some pear, pear though, ripe Bartlett pear. But this only saw about a third new oak on it, Sam. And then the other third is 2 to 3 year old, and then basically the last third would be neutral. So it would be fermented in stainless steel, then barrel aged for 18 months.
So I gotta say, this Chardonnay, which retails for $34, is a great drinking Chardonnay.
Oh my God, right?
I'm sipping it now. And as my friend and your friend Nick Goldsmith likes to ask, does it make you hungry or thirsty? It makes me thirsty. I want to drink more of it.
Well, and that's a good thing.
That's a very good thing.
I mean, but it's making me kind of, I want a nice roasted chicken.
Yeah.
But I think it's rich enough. I mean, it'll stick up to some rich seafood too, right? I mean, if you had some good Maine lobster.
It'd be great with lobster.
Woo! Yeah.
Great with lobster.
Oh my God, right? A lobster, like, what do they call them? Oh, the poor boys. What are the lobster sandwiches they do up
that's
Maine?
Lobster rolls.
Yeah. Can you send a few of those out, Sam?
Yeah, we can. This with a lobster roll would be perfection.
Wouldn't it?
Yep.
Look at the color of that. It's gorgeous. And
it's got a really nice color.
Look at the legs on that wine, Sam.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got some kick to it.
Long, thick leg. Well, it's got some body to it. I like to say that Diane's Chardonnays, they're red wine drinkers, white wine.
Yeah.
Because they have a lot of texture, a lot of viscosity to them, rich wines.
I love a California white and a Chardonnay in particular that's got some oak. It's got some body and some bulk, but it's not too heavy.
Right. It's all about balance, and she's a master at it. Diane's been named International Woman Winemaker of the Year 4 times. She just won her 3rd international saddle at the Houston Rodeo, which is the 2nd largest wine competition in the United States behind the San Francisco Chronicle. Unprecedented. She's only entered 6 years, and she's won 3 top all-around wineries. So she won more gold medals than any other winery entered, and it's an international competition. She's amazing. Well, you had her on the show. She's
got a great palate, and when we did the Wilson broadcast in the spring, it was amazing to have her on. And frankly, I learned something new, which was that the Houston Rodeo, which you think about bucking broncs and bulls, actually has a wine competition that breaks out in the middle of the rodeo, which is amazing.
You broke up a little bit, but
no, I was just saying I didn't know that the Houston Rodeo was a major wine competition.
Second largest in the United States.
There's a question here, Jim, which you are absolutely most qualified to answer, and that is there a discount code for the other wines in the tasting, like the reds, the Cab and the Primitivo?
No, you just use the same code. Go into the deLorimier Winery / New York. I think / New York, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna put everybody. I'm gonna put in the chat module in Zoom. I'm gonna put the URL that takes you to the special offers. There it is.
Yeah. It will just be you calling in. You'll be talking with Arden more than likely, or Rebecca.
Oh, should they call? Is it easier to call, Jim?
No, you can just go on.
Yeah, you can do it online. Okay,
yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
awesome.
Whatever's easier for them. Whatever's easier for them to do.
All right. Well, I want to thank the person who just asked that question, because we're on to the wine that I'm most intrigued about tonight, which is the 2018 Primitivo Wedding Cake Vineyard Alexander Valley Red Wine. Take it away,
right.
Jim.
That's right. So, brand new bottling. We make, as I was saying earlier, Diane makes 8 different Primitivos now. This being one of our vineyards, it was planted back in 2011. So, we're on, I think this was the, sixth or seventh vintage off of that ranch. It's actually, you can't see it, but it's on a hillside right over here on the opposite benchland hillsides on the west side of Alexander Valley. But it's called Wedding Cake. How it got its name was the vineyard is super terraced. I mean, you can't walk up that vineyard on you're on all fours. There's actually a stairway that goes up the middle of it, and the workers have to go up that stairway to go into the vines, to prune, to pick for the harvest, to do all the maintenance on the vineyards through the year. It's an incredible vineyard, We'll go there, Sammy, when you come out. We'll go up there and we'll have a glass of Wedding Cake Primitivo from the top of the hill.
So let me ask you a question, Jim. This Primitivo, this is an Italian grape varietal, correct?
Well, good question, Sam. I've been to a lot of the Zap things through the years, and I actually had a good conversation with Joel Peterson and the head guy from Ridge Vineyards about that. And they feel that it's a clone of the Zinfandel grape, which originally came from Croatia. And they feel that it wasn't called Zinfandel in Croatia. I can never pronounce it, but it's two words and ends in a ski. And they feel that Primitivo was a clone of that grape that crossed over the Adriatic and went into the Puglia region of Italy. Yes, the heel of the boot, the warm growing region. And the Italians gave it its name Primitivo, the primitive one, because it came from the old country.
Yeah.
Now, flavor profiles wise, I find it being softer, more baking spices I get. As a matter of fact, Sam, I went out to the vineyard and I sacrificed a bottle of wine just for you. These are actually Primitivo grapes.
Look at that.
And you see that little cluster up there? It's amazing. Sometimes winemakers will go through and chop that off because like Zinfandel, it's a little better than Zinfandel, but it's a little uneven ripening, right? Doesn't all the grapes don't ripen at the same time. So that's why you really have to push long hang time. That's why you get big fruit, rich flavors on both Zinfandel, but Primitivo also. You can kind of see on this cluster how they're kind of green and stuff still inside there, right?
Yeah.
They're not all purple. This is the time of year that it's going through a time called veration.
Yeah.
And that's the time when they turn from this green color grapes to these beautiful dark, blueberry colored grapes. And it typically starts out usually first week of July, thereabouts. And we're about, I would say, 75 to 80% through veration at this time. And then once they get through veration, that's where they really start picking up their flavor profiles, developing their different beautiful characteristics, between Primitivo or Zinfandel or Cabernet or Merlot or, Primitivo. That's when they really start, really about the mid part of August, third week of August, and then into September. These grapes will probably be harvested towards right around the end of September, maybe first part of October, thereabouts.
Yeah.
But they're beautiful.
So
look how luscious, look how thick.
So this
gorgeous?
This wine is, they're beautiful. This wine is going to taste like a really full-bodied, almost like a red Zinfandel from California, right?
Yeah, but softer, Sam. Softer tannins. More baking spices. More like white pepper spice. More like cinnamon flavors and nutmeg and vanilla kind of tones.
Yeah.
Primitivo, I'm telling you, people don't know this grape yet. They really don't. They need to find it and buy some of it and try it. And even if it's Italian style is going to be a little different. It's going to be a little drier, but California Primitivos are just ripe fruit, just luscious wines, and it goes with everything.
Yeah.
I'm talking from, pizza to, a New York strip, it really does.
Well,
I like to keep it simple. I like to, pizza, pasta, burgers, ribs, something off the Barbie,
Yep.
just like Zinfandel.
Yeah. Now, I will say that, as I get older, even though I love the classic big California red Zins, something that's got a little bit more finesse and is a little smoother and is more versatile is appealing.
Pinot Noir?
Well, no, like this Primitivo, sounds
Primitivo.
like
Yeah.
it's right up my alley.
Well, did you open a bottle of it?
I have not opened it. I literally have it.
Wait a minute, you're stumbling. You should have had the.
It's downstairs, Jim. I knew you would have it. I knew we'd be talking about it.
Yeah, but you should be tasting.
I should be tasting
it with.
I should be tasting with you. I should be tasting it with you, 100%. But I'm about to actually open it up. We're making chicken parmesan and pasta tonight, so it's going to go with that.
Perfect. You're gonna love it. It needs a little bit of air, Sam. So get it open now, because this was only put in the bottle 3 weeks ago. So we really haven't even truly released this wine yet here at the winery. So your folks are getting first shot at this wine. They will be the first in the country, in the world, let's say, that's going to be able to buy this wine, because again, hasn't even been released at the winery yet.
All right, I'm going to open it now. Well, actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the Meritage.
All
because
right.
We're about to talk about the Meritage.
All right. Of that wedding cake Primitivo, 10 barrels, Sam. That's it.
Wow.
Amazing.
How many cases of the Meritage were made?
4.
Wow.
4 barrels. So
4 barrels.
How many cases is that?
It's 100. It's 100 bottle. I mean, no, sorry. It's 25. It's 100 cases.
That's right. That's it. 100 cases.
Wow.
And this is only 250 cases, right? And the Chardonnay, going back to that, she did a whopping 12 barrels of, Sam. We're very small production through all of our wineries, Sam. We're very boutique. 11 wineries, we make under 100,000 cases of wine. That's it.
Under 100,000.
Yes, and I would say 60% of that, or very close, is direct to consumer with our family members. So people on the East Coast will see a little bit. I know we're in, I don't know, some stores there, I think in New Jersey. Ever shopped at a store in, I'm not doing any promos here, but in Brooklyn called Leon and Sons?
No.
You know it?
Never been.
You check it out. It's a cool shop. It's right on Fulton, if you know where Fulton is.
I'm going to check it out. I'm having my assistant bring the Primitivo. I'm having my assistant bring the Primitivo and a glass and an opener to me right now.
All right, excellent. And I'll get into the
Meritage. So let me put the Meritage on the screen. By the way, the wedding cake Primitivo, for such a small production wine of only
10 barrels,
250 cases, $38 retail. That's a steal. That is a great deal.
It's incredible, right?
I'm putting up the Artisan Meritage. Now this is the fancy wine. So if anybody watching is a fancy person, and you're feeling flush, this one is more expensive. This is a $70 retail, 70, and this is a blend of Cab, Malbec, Cabernet Franc, and Pinot.
No, Petit Verdot.
Sorry, Petit Verdot. My bad.
That's right. And Sammy, can I correct you on one thing? Because I wouldn't want to give any bad information to your viewers. You pronounced it Meritage.
Yes.
Did you not?
Yes, I did.
Sammy, the right pronunciation of this is Meritage. because it's
Heritage.
a marriage
Okay.
of heritage grapes from Bordeaux.
Well,
Sorry,
it
Sam.
turns out that all that French that I took in high school is now messing me up because I'm pronouncing it wrong.
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah. You know,
All right,
that term was started back in 1986 when that winery started. Doc was one of the first guys to get into the Meritage Society, you know, which is based over in Napa proper. But he was one of the first wineries to be on board with them to get into the Meritage Society. Pretty amazing.
Let me ask you a question: is because this is a blend, and we're at deLorimier, which was founded on with the passion and the interest in Bordeaux style wines. Is this in the tradition of a Bordeaux style blend?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, tongue in cheek a little bit because, you know, our growing season is so much longer here. So we have so much more, you know, fruit forward flavors and whatnot. But I would think if you were going to go to Bordeaux and you were going to go to a region like Pauillac or maybe even like Margaux region, this kind of falls into that more. You know, the Graves region or the right bank, which would be, I think this would be a style of wine that would fall into, yes, a Pauillac or a Margaux, you know, appellation, Bordeaux. I would like to say, you know, it might be like a Chateau Margaux or a Chateau Latour. You know, Diane tastes these wines through the years, those first growth Bordeaux. And again, granted, it's not gonna be the same, but she tries to represent the style as much as possible from California as those great, you know, first growth Bordeaux.
Got it.
And 74 barrels again, Sam. And what was, I think it's $70, right, for this?
Yeah.
Yeah. What a deal.
I mean,
that is just crazy.
And
so
because by the way, Chateau Margaux is what, $1,000, $2,000 a bottle?
It's at least $1,000, on release now. Yeah, somewhere up in there, 800 to $1,000, only. And they probably make 20 or 30,000 cases of it.
Is that
we
right?
We made 99 of this. So this does see 50% new French oak, though, Sam. So this is on the high end of what Diane does as far as high percentages of new oak. All French, and this sees about 30 months aging, barrel aging. So this is our current release. 16 is our current release on these wines.
And whereas the wedding cake, which is a single varietal, just the Primitivo grape, is a 2018 release.
That's right. The breakdown on this is let me think here. It is 55% Cabernet Sauvignon, and then 15% each of Malbec, Cabernet Franc, and Petit Verdot. Just no Merlot.
Yep. Awesome. What would you pair this?
Oh, perfume. I mean, it's got that cedar box to it. You know, I'm a big meat guy, so I mean, I think it would go from everything, you know, maybe with a nice lamb chop, but it would hold up to a nice cowboy ribeye, no doubt, right? Something nice, big bone in, you know, big marbly steak. I mean, it's got enough gumption, enough grip there to hold up to that marbliness. But you know, if you weren't a red meat eater, you could put this with, some nice ribs without a doubt, easily, something simple, you know, or nice. You know, we do a cut of beef out here on the West Coast called tri-tip. Out here. Yeah. And if you do a nice tripe medium rare, kaboom, it's beautiful with it. But you know, piece of roasted chicken, no doubt. I mean, it's got nice tannin structure to it, but it's pretty soft in the mouth. Have you tried it?
No, I have my Primitivo with me here. You can see it on my screen.
Your assistant got the Primitivo for you?
So we have a question from Jeffrey. The grapes from this wine and from the also the Primitivo are grown in the Alexander Valley. Is that right?
Well, the grape, yes, the Primitivo is 100% off a single vineyard wedding cake, which is right up on the hill over here. And then the Artisan comes from a selection of vineyards. We have a ranch north of here, about 10 miles up in Cloverdale, which is the warmest part, the warmest part of the Alexander Valley. People don't think about being the north end of the valley is actually the warmest part of the valley. The south end of the valley is actually the coolest end of the valley for the Alexander Valley.
Yeah.
Kind of opposite of what you would think. But these grapes, there's a little bit of the Petit Verdot and a little bit of the Cabernet Franc that comes off of our ranches over in Dry Creek. But to be called Alexander Valley, it only has to be 85% of the fruit has to come from that
Right.
AVA, right? American Viticultural Area.
Yep.
So, and it certainly does. A little bit of this fruit comes from a couple of our growers. We source incredible Cabernet Franc from Joe Ramazzotti, who's an incredible grower here in the Alexander Valley. We also source, incredible. And Diane does single varietal wines out of both of those vineyards. And the Malbec that we get, and boy, I'll tell you, if anybody loves Malbec, buy some of Diane's Furlong Vineyard Malbec.
Yeah.
We sell out of it every year. We don't make a lot. Combination of vineyards, some ours, some that we source from, to make this wine every year. Now we do 3 different Meritage style wines. The original, that what I call the red wine or the red brick that built this house, is called Mosaic, and that blend is a little bit different every year. And then Diane does one off of the backside here. There's we planted back in 2010. We planted Cabernet, Cab Franc, Petit Verdot, and Malbec, and she makes an estate Meritage out of that vineyard also.
Now, is the Mosaic? I think Jeffrey was also referring to the Mosaic. Are the grapes from the Mosaic from the Alexander Valley?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Typically for the Mosaic, because it was the original Meritage style wine from here, we try to keep all the varietals sourced, excuse me, from the Alexander Valley for that one.
All right.
And of course, the estate is 100% because it's off the vineyard right out of back.
So then the question is, we want to make sure we're clear, like, how do people get these wines? And the answer is you go to this URL, this link that's in my screen right now, deLorimierWinery.com.
Yep. deLorimierWinery.com/New York.
And that's
New York.
And by the way, the free shipping thing is a big deal.
On a 6-pack, that's probably $35 or $40 to the East Coast, Sam.
Yeah, it's
cases now are $50 to $60 to ship.
We did a rosé.
Yeah, and just to let people know.
Go ahead.
Just to let people know that everything that we ship this time of year comes shipped 100% temperature controlled to New York, and then once it gets to the hub there, they put ice packs in it, so be worried about shipping with warm weather.
So I'm really glad you brought that up, because you sent me a case, which, thank you so much, amazing. And when I opened it yesterday, I was like, wow, they put dry ice packs in the inside the case, wrapped up in paper with plastic around them. So, because I was like, oh my God,
right?
It's in New York, it's been 90 degrees and humid for 2 weeks.
Yes.
And if you leave something in your car, it just melts.
Absolutely.
So I think it's really important to point out that you guys do that shipping process where the wines are actually protected from the heat, which is awesome. Well, Jim,
So you had no.
this,
I
this has
sent
been great.
I sent you a case of wine, Sam.
You did. You did.
Oh my goodness! You better enjoy this weekend.
Did you,
All right.
did you not intend to send?
I think there's a special bundle in there too.
I mean, I could send it back if you didn't mean it.
No, no, we're gonna make more, so that's okay. You hang on to that.
All right, I'm going to hang on to it.
All
Hey,
right.
everybody, I just want to say a big thank you to Jim. But before we go, it's not every day that we have the portfolio director from a winery with us. So if you have any questions at all, there are no out of bounds questions. Hit us in the Q&A now.
Fire away.
Yeah, fire away.
Try to stump me.
And if not, make your way to deLorimier.com, learn about the winery. It's so great to hear the story, Jim, the background, the history.
Yeah.
And then, I love the fact that you're standing right there in the vineyard and the wine, the grapes that make the wines are right behind you.
That's right behind me here.
That's what it's all about. You guys do an amazing job. I mean, wineries in general doing God's work, growing grapes, harvesting them, crushing them, and making wine. And for people to see, to see that is incredible. So we have a question from John.
Yeah.
How was the 2018 growing season? And I suspect that he's asking in relation to the wedding cake Primitivo.
Well, I think, it was in the fall after harvest, we had quite a bit of rain that year, but in the years prior to that were drought years. So we needed the rain in 18, but it came after harvest. So we had long hang time. I think, making very, rich, ripe, forward drinking wines, as they're turning out to be, the few that I've tasted, because we're basically our reds.
Yeah.
We're basically just getting in the bottle over the last 6 or 8 weeks. We've had the Chardonnay in the bottle since about last December, but really rich fruit. We've had it a little tough out here, Sammy. With the fires in 17. I don't like to say that too loud because it's kind of getting to that time of year again. But then 18 we had the floods a little bit, and then 19 we came back. We had the fires again. Yeah. So we're but I think overall 18 as a vintage, pretty stellar. I would say out of 10, probably maybe an 8.5 out of 10.
Yep, that's great to hear. That's great to hear. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. It's always a pleasure, and I want to especially thank you, Jim, for spending time with us and taking us right out to the edge of the vines there by the vineyard. We would all like to come out and visit soon, and I encourage anyone who's interested to do that.
Yes, because not only did we have the house and the suites here, but we have a couple of beautiful B&Bs down in Healdsburg that can house you 17-room bed and breakfasts. We have other guest houses on our other vineyards. As a family, like I said, we own 11 wineries as a family, so we have lots of accommodation space for you.
Well, that's a lead into one final question, which is,
what's that?
Somebody asked if we join the wine club.
Yes.
Do we have access to all the Wilson wines?
Absolutely. That's the beautiful thing about our family members, our club members. Once you become, now you would only, if you join deLorimier, you would only receive the wines from deLorimier Winery, but you have access to all the other 10 wineries, and you get your discount price point, depending on which club you join at, anywhere from 15 to 20 to 25%. You get that at all the wineries. And you get to bring up to 4 to 6 people, depending on the winery. No charge for tastings.
Yeah.
All the different rooms and houses that we have, you get an extra discount being a club member for all of our B&Bs and estate, our houses on our estates. It's a great club, and it doesn't cost you anything besides what the wine that you purchase. So go online and check it out. Check out the one at deLorimier. at, deLorimier and it'll work you through all the different club levels and whatnot. But yes, you do get access to all 11 of our wineries.
That's great. I just put for convenience sake, I put the URL back in the chat.
I see it back up there. Thank you, Sam.
Well, Jim, I transitioned from an SUV. My lease ended, and I went to a pickup truck because I need to hook it up to an RV that I tow, so I can come out and visit you guys, hang out, go fishing, taste wine.
All you got to do is get out here, brother. We'll do all of the above.
All right. I'm looking forward. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. And for everybody here on the East Coast, have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. And I look forward to our next Zoom at another one of our properties.
We're ready. We're ready.
All right. Fantastic.
All right. Take care.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Adios.